We've always had room in our hearts for film and TV, not just on Netflix, but tape and disc and theaters. Also, God forbid that they take it all away and leave us nothing to broadcast to loyal listeners. We'll binge watch every single movie, so you don't have to. What else are we here for? Coming to you every week. Listen to us while you're busy. Luckily, we forgot to grow up. Hey everybody, it's Craig.
Hey, it's Scott.
Hey, it's Andrew.
Welcome to episode number 62 of the Forgot to Grow Up podcast. Every time I say a number that's slightly higher than last week's number, it boggles my mind.
Oh, shit.
It's every single week.
Every week.
Every single week. Not just every time I say something higher than 61, for those of you who thought maybe that's what it was. On this week's episode of the Forgot to Grow podcast, we are going to talk about Spider-Man movies. We didn't really discuss which ones, so I'm just going to go with all of them.
All of the Spider-Man.
And then we're going to talk about what we watched this week in a segment that we really, really, really like to call WWWTW. So, Spider-Man movies.
Spider-Man movies, except for the Into the Spiderverse.
Except for Into the Spiderverse.
That's on theaters, yes.
Here that one, we can't talk about that
we haven't
for contractual obligations. I'm not saying we're in the movie, but I'm not saying we're not.
I'm not saying that I play the role of redacted.
Spider-Man movies.
Spider-Man movies. Should we start at the beginning?
We're talking live-action Spider-Man movies, first of all, right? So we're talking
about because I've never seen
original
an
Spider-Man
one.
films and the Amazing Spider-Man films.
Exactly. And then Homecoming with Tom Holland. The best one, in my opinion.
Okay, I haven't seen Homecoming, so...
Excuse me, motherfucker? What?
Surprise!
Are
Craig
you
hasn't
starting
seen a movie.
episode 62 with beef?
Surprise, Craig hasn't
See, that
seen a
doesn't
movie.
surprise me whatsoever.
Exactly. See, Scott knows what's up.
Yeah. Well, I watched that one over before in prep for this / I'd already seen it anyways, but it was on Crave TV, so I watched that one because it's my favorite of all of them because it's the youngest of the actors. They got to play a teenager. He's a natural teenager, so that's a nice little thing. The high school actually feels like a high school in Homecoming. I love Tom Holland. I didn't know he was British, but I like that. He does a really great job of hiding it. But maybe I'm just not good at hearing like bad American accents, if that makes sense.
I don't know. Sometimes even like little kids can do it.
Well, see, like sometimes I'll hear like other podcasts like criticize Benedict Cumberbatch doing like Doctor Strange, right? And I'm like, I didn't get it. I didn't hear it.
I like his American accent though.
Yeah, see, and like to me, I just didn't even notice.
It's very much like Hugh Laurie's House.
Exactly, and some people hate on that, and I'm like, I don't get it. I like it. What he. So, anyways, that's totally off topic.
Jim Gam juice.
So, Andrew, you say some stuff about Homecoming, since clearly, obviously, Craig hasn't seen it.
It was okay. I'm not gonna say it was great. I'm not gonna say it was the worst. It was okay. I'm not a
favorite Spider-Man.
No,
movie, then.
I'm not a fan of high school Peter Parker. To be honest with you, I can
agree with that.
Like, I think that was my major issue with the Amazing Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man 2, was that he's well, I mean, in those ones it's because he's not as smart as he's supposed to be, but in this one it's like he's kind of just going through the motions. And another one where they don't give him like the credit for figuring stuff out on it, like on his own.
That's true.
Like, and that takes it away from me a lot. Like, I grew up with like super genius level Peter Parker, right? Like, that was my Spider-Man, where he just knew fucking everything. And then you give me high school Spider-Man, where he's like, puberty, and I'm like, oh, come on, son.
I will grant you that was a struggle for me watching this one. That's actually one thing that I find about all of these. They have a little bit cringeworthiness in the Spider-Man one, just because he's so awkward. And they try to force the love stories in all of them, and I hate forced love stories. I get it's part of the comics. I do. I understand it, but I don't need it. And it's just, or do it better. You know what I mean? Like, It always just feels so, it just gives me the, I don't know. I just don't like it.
I don't like that. I don't like that they lead you on with that MJ bullshit.
Yeah, that was lame. I didn't even. I
That
was,
was
like, oh,
that
that's
was
a lame
useless.
cop-out. Yeah.
Like who? It didn't do anything for the story. It was just, oh my goodness, they said MJ.
And the other part is like I didn't feel any like chemistry between those two to like hint that there was a future in it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
to lead to the comic. So it's just like kind of like it was just thrown.
She's
in
not
there
even
for
the girl
sake of
next
something.
door.
That's
Like,
yeah,
that's,
exactly.
like,
Which is the whole
It's,
point of
it's just
MJ.
like the awkward girl who's like, I don't know, like I hate you guys, but also let's
Guys are
hug.
creepy. Like,
Yeah.
he calls them creepy.
Yeah,
Which I like. I like.
but
her-
you're hanging out with
I
us.
do like her as Spunk because I'm just like, yeah, call people out for that. Call them
Yeah,
out for the the fact that
More
this lady's built the
people need to
Washington
call out
Monument.
the creepy people. Okay, it needs to happen.
Yeah, but
If you're
so, like,
creepy, you
for me-
deserve to be called out.
for me, Homecoming though still is probably my favorite of them, just because I like the action in it. He's still my favorite Spider-Man. I like his humor the best out of all of them. Like his sense of humor. I feel like Tobey Maguire just a little. He actually like makes me want to pull my hair out sometimes. I'm just like, oh my god, like
He's whiny. He is whiny.
he's so whiny. He's just
As-
so like, ugh.
Like as a Peter Parker, like I don't know. I honestly think it's just because I watched like the cartoon, like the cartoon that was around when we were kids, and I was like, oh, okay. Like he's kind of an arrogant dick at times, but Peter Parker's also like super smart. Like he doesn't get super whiny.
Exactly.
But all of these like live action Peter Parkers are kind of whiny.
I think
Like,
Tom Holland's the least whiny.
see, I think he's the ultimate whiny. Like the second he's like, don't take my suit. Like, bro, just go put your other fucking
Well,
suit back
okay,
on.
I'll
like,
give you that
you
one,
were doing
but
it beforehand.
That was also
Man
very,
up.
I feel like that was slightly reminiscent of his generation and their attachment to technology. I feel like they were speaking to that on another level. Not really.
You pulled that one out of your ass right there, my man. Like, and that's another thing. Like, he's supposed to be like he should be smart enough to make his own.
His own suit? Well,
Yeah, or like maybe not like the same level, but he should be able to do something.
he does make his own. What's it
His
called? Web
hoodie
formula.
with goggles.
No, the web formula. The
If he can make that, why can't he do something else?
I'll give you that too. I agree. He should have been able to do a little bit more than the weird goggles and the hoodie. I agree. I'll give you that too. Like he should be a little smarter,
Okay, so
technological wise. But at
the
the same
other-
time, I wouldn't know where to start with that either. Like, where do you start making an Iron Spider suit? I don't know.
yeah, that's true. Well, we don't know. We're not smart. That's the thing.
That's true. We're also not comic book characters.
No.
Damn
Okay,
it. Why
two
were
of
we
the other
born this
things.
way?
Two of the other negative things for me. One, there's just too much focus on Marissa Tomei being hot.
Yeah,
I didn't.
that
I
gets
didn't need
old.
them to focus on it. Like, to me, that's the exact same as when they're like, "Oh, here's Black Widow's butt."
Yeah, it
Like,
was a little
part of
much.
me is like, "Yeah, okay, I saw
See,
it."
I was cool. Like I like
But-
when Tony does it, but everyone else is just too much. Like why does the guy at the store got to be talking about his aunt, and why does everyone have to comment about it? Like I like when Tony does it because it's just kind of funny.
Yeah, when
Especially
Tony
'cause-
does it, he kind of does it in passing, right? Like,
Yeah.
he's obviously not gonna bang her, but he's also like, "Hey, whatever. This is just who I am."
he's kind of poking fun at
Like-
Peter more than anything. He's just
Yeah.
trying to give Peter a hard time, which is fine. But everyone else is just like so crude about it, and I'm like, no, just
Yeah. Like,
why would we take
if
it away from the Spider-Man story? It's not Aunt
Okay.
May's story.
if Ned walked by like her bedroom while she was undressing or something, and he was like just jaw dropped gawking, I would have accepted that. I would have been like, you know what? He's in puberty too. He's just as super awkward as Peter. But when it's just like, here's the camera, let's focus on a pretty lady, I'm like, not in my superhero movies, man. I didn't need it in
punch
Wonder
something.
Woman. I don't need it in Captain America, the Winter Soldier. I don't need it here. And Ned is the other issue that I had with this. Like,
Okay.
I feel like Ned was just like, let's get a fat guy in there. Let's give a fat kid a role. And I'm like, come on, man.
Well, I feel like that's taken away from the actor's previous roles that I don't know about, but I'm sure he already has.
No, like, I feel like his whole role was like, let's get a fat, like, guy. Ugh, just no. No, he didn't do anything for any of the story. He was just like a fat geek, which, cool for me. That's what I am. But I don't need to see me in a movie. Like, If I want to see me in a
saying is that you don't want to be represented.
Yeah, you
No,
don't
I
care
wanna-
about your
I
representation.
want to be in a
movies.
movie, but I don't need to see me in a movie. You know what I mean?
No, not really. A lot, like
Okay.
I do see myself in a lot of Hollywood stars, but I think that speaks more to my own vanity.
To your
than
ego?
anything. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I don't need to see what I'm about in a movie. Like, I don't like. I'm not the type of person you need to see in a movie. I don't do much for any story arc other than my own.
Well,
like,
he does own that a little bit, that he's the guy in the chair, right? Like, I like that he's like, you know what I mean? Like, he's nerdy enough to be like, no, I know I'm not the guy who's the sidekick. I'm the guy in the
He's
chair.
the Felicity Smoke, but he's not Felicity Smoke.
But he tries. You know, it's not like they were, hacking into anything crazy. You just
No,
needed
like,
some,
it was just,
GPS
ugh.
routes.
It was no. Like
Hard to have your phone out while you're Spideying.
the acting of Adrian Toomes is really the only thing in this movie that brings it back up.
Which one's that?
Like the Vulture.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was the character's
Yeah.
name.
Like he's and
either-
I don't like that version of the Vulture. Like, again, I grew
No.
up with the Spider-Man cartoon where it was an old dude
Old-
who sucked life force out.
Yeah.
Like, I really liked that version of the Vulture. I didn't need to see giant mech suit, which I get that it fits into, more of the Marvel lore that's going on right now in the movies.
The MCU
But
lore.
yeah, but I just like the old dude Toomes. I like the acting. Don't get me wrong. Michael Keaton nailed it.
Is the
and his reason for doing it was like, okay, yeah, just another bad guy he's doing
Just trying to make
like
it
he's trying he's trying to do the right thing, but he's doing it the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it.
Those are always
especially because he was a good guy, and it just he got kind of fucked. And I'm willing to give him that. However,
Why you gotta kill Spidey?
well, you got to kill Spidey, or why don't you
Even
kill
that actually
Spidey
made
faster?
sense to me. Like, so, well, I don't feel like that wasn't from a lack of trying.
Fair enough. But like everyone else and like every other like evil in quotation, every other bad guy in this movie was fucking ridiculous. Like the gadget making guy was just like super awkward, and like all he knew how to do was tinker. And they seemed to like lead towards his awkwardness, which I didn't need to see that either.
Isn't that his character's name from the comic, the Tinker?
I'm not sure, something like that. Something weird like the gadget maker or fucking something. Because he's like, Toomes' phone? Like, fuck off, man. You're going to answer your boss's cell phone? Piss right off. No way. I'm my own boss, and I don't even like answering my phone sometimes. Like, you telling me other people are answering their boss's phone?
Sometimes.
No. No, I refuse to believe it, especially when your dad is like the kingpin of a master organization who flies around and rips the tops off trucks.
Maybe he's just not around.
I don't accept it. I don't
Everyone's
accept it.
got
And then
voicemail.
both versions of the Shocker in this movie, like, come on, son. Come on,
Did
son.
you just want them to put the mask on? He's got a mask.
No,
on.
I don't want the Shocker.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
I just, like, what did he really do for this story? The first guy just got pissed off
I feel
and
like
then died.
I feel like the reason they went with Shocker is it fit in with them thinking, like along the lines of the technological, adaptation of the characters. You know what I mean? Like fitting in with the fact that they're salvaging alien tech, so that kind of fits in there. And I think it was just because it hadn't been used in any of the 5 other Spider-Mans. Like that's the key thing I think about these two, all the villains in this, right? It's ones that have never appeared before because they really wanted to distance themselves from it. They didn't want to do another Green Goblin or anything like that.
Hence why they're bringing fucking Mysterio in. And
Exactly. Oh yeah, because they want to push because it's already been done a few times. So they did it twice and it didn't make it a go the second time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, but I could see why you're not the biggest fan of it. I still like this one the best. Let's talk about the other ones. Which one's your favorite then?
oh man, you know what? The other ones all have certain aspects. Like I know Spider-Man 2 is like the renowned best for most people.
Yeah, everyone likes
And
Doc
it's
Ock and
everyone likes Doc Ock. I like the actor.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of like why he's doing it, and that it's just a robot talking to him. Like that's super fucking weird to me.
Yeah, it's almost
Like-
it's slightly reminiscent of the first one in that like the first one, the goblins talking to him or taking over, and then
Yeah.
the second one, it's
Or they all have
tech.
these. Yeah, they all have like these evil voices in the back of their heads.
Yeah, it's
Like Norm, but I think the first one for me. Like I think it's
Yeah?
got to be the first one. Like Norman Osborn is just killer.
yeah, I do.
It's got
enjoy
it's
him
got a
as
Macy Gray song at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Isn't that the only Macy Gray song?
I think so. Something like that. I'm pretty sure that's like she features like Uncle Cracker. No, it's Dobie Gray. That's who it is. It's Dobie Gray. That's who it is. But
Gotcha.
like that's like it's top to bottom. Like I don't like Kirsten Dunst
Yeah,
As
I
a
was gonna
hu-
say, yeah.
as a human being and an actress.
Well, I
like
won't go
she
as far
just
as human being.
okay. She no. You can't do Bring It On and then think that you can redeem yourself. No, you can't. You brought it. You lost it.
I disagree with that. I love Bring It On. Just the first one. It's great.
That's because you were like 11 when you watched it for the
yes,
first
I
time.
was.
You were going through the
it was
Peter
part
Parker.
of puberty. Okay, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
that's it. This is the
I
puberty
was into the
episode
other
right
chick
now.
anyways because I had a thing for the bad girls. Anyways,
Of course you did. But anyways, like that movie was just phenomenal. Like I'm not even a fan of Franco, but he does a good job as
I always forget Franco's in these movies.
Yeah.
I like even when I'm sitting and watching it, he'll pop into a scene. Oh yeah, that's James Franco because it's
You're
just
like, oh,
such a like
oh,
not
shit,
one
yeah.
of his roles. You know what I mean? Like just
yeah.
it's just so mainstream. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
even though he's he's kind of off mainstream. if
Like
that
I feel
makes
like that's
sense,
what
but-
I feel like that's what they went for in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Was they were like, let's get people who are recognized for stuff, but
Won't cost
why
too
are
much
they
money.
like yeah, the ones who they're like, maybe I need to Bing this person.
I like that you threw that over the Bing for me.
Yeah. You're welcome, man. I'm out here just trying to spread it. Google gets too much recognition. They may be better, but we gotta Bing some stuff every once in a while. Binging it on back to what I'm trying to talk about.
Ah.
Haha.
Give
Bing it
something
on.
Great to comment on.
No, like, and the Green Goblin, like the costumes in these movies, like
Oh, I'll give you that. They
I'm
probably have the
gonna
best
go.
costumes.
I'm gonna go on record right now and say that the Spider-Man movies, specifically 1 and 2, 3. Actually, no, I liked Venom. I'm gonna throw Venom in there. Okay, those 3 Spider-Mans, like Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, and then the Venom from Spider-Man 3. Those costumes are the best costumes from any superhero movie. I said it, and I mean it.
Oh,
I
I had
mean
to
it.
put more thought into it than that. I'll give you the best of probably all the Spider-Man ones, definitely.
Like the only argument I'd be willing to accept, like comparatively wise, would be Superman not in like Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and Justice League, or the later versions of the Iron Man suits. And even then, some of the later versions of the Iron Man suits just don't look that good. Like Homecoming
CGI.
Spider-Man, or yeah, Homecoming Iron Man suit. I was like, meh,
Yeah.
whatever. But all the original trilogy Spider-Man suits, the Green Goblin, Doc Ock. I'm not a huge fan of the big fucking trench coat, but it works for like that.
It did work for it, yes.
I didn't really need to see him shirtless underneath the trench coat.
That part was a little
But-
awkward. I'm like,
but
dude,
I also-
you didn't want to get a trainer for this? Like even
yeah.
even skinny ass Tobey Maguire hit the gym a little bit for the first one.
Yo, he had big ass biceps at one point, like from
He
back
wasn't that
back in the
big.
day.
I was looking at it.
Oh,
I'm like,
at
I was
the
definitely as big as
time,
him in
okay.
high school.
But he's Spider-Man, so you got to give it to him.
That's fair.
But
I
the
definitely
Green
could crawl
Goblin
in
costume, the Green Goblin costume. Tell
No,
me
I
that
will-
wasn't
I'll
amazing.
never-
Did you see that helmet?
I love that one. I was watching that last
Like,
night, and
It's
I
especially
won't argue that's probably one of my favorite villain costumes in all movies.
the only costume I want to see more in a live action Spider-Man movie is the Hobgoblin. I
Yeah,
want to
I'm
see
curious
him
with that, yeah.
just because I want to see the hood,
Yep.
and I just want to see him. It's basically the same shit. I just want to see it.
And I like the Hobgoblin to me, like in my That's what I remember more from the cartoons than anything else.
Yeah,
was
the Green Goblin
from
was
that.
just like he popped up occasionally, whereas the Hobgoblin was a more like recurring guy, right?
Yeah, and I definitely think I had like at least one toy of him somewhere. I had a Spider-Man Jeep at one point too.
What?
Yeah.
I had the Iron Spider, but in the cartoon, the Iron Spider was just like a silver Spider-Man suit, whereas Spider-Man didn't have like powers or anything. It was just he made the suit, and I was like, "Fuck yes!"
That's cool. I like that.
It was so good. But yeah, so Spider-Man 1 would probably be my number one, just because like that's where it starts. My mom took me out of school to see that movie.
Oh damn!
She only ever did that for Harry Potter movies. That's how big Spider-Man was in my life. That's not true. She took me out of school for Lord of the Rings 3. But Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
After Spider-Man, like I saw it opening day on the Friday matinee show. That was back when they used to do matinees in the middle of every day because they cared about us moviegoers.
And seniors.
Yes. So she took me to see that. The following Monday, like most of my class had seen it. And we were all just so pumped up about Spider-Man and how good it was. My dog bit me like a week later. Not even like a full-on like aggressive bite. Not even like a full-on bite, but just like I was playing with him and he nipped me a little bit and I was like, "Oh, I'm about to become Dog Man." And I came up with a costume. It was a green, kind of like the sweater I'm wearing now, except not V-neck. It was a green sweatshirt like that. I wore a green balaclava with brown patches on the sides. And then snow pants. That was my Dog Man costume, and I was just waiting for my powers. My class was psyched. They were like, "Man, he's gonna be a superhero." He's only like, I don't even know how old I was. I was like 10, I think. Like, life was awesome. Turns out I didn't turn into Dog Man.
Definitely not.
I did not turn into Dog Man. I like to think I have decent smelling. I can't hear dick all. So like, if I'm a dog, I'm a Dalmatian. Like. So yeah, Spider-Man changed my life for the better. Who knows? But it did change. It did change my life.
That's not where I thought that story was going whatsoever.
But that's where it went.
All right.
So next up, I would say Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2's got to be my number 2 on the list.
All right. Yeah, I get that.
Mainly because Jeff from Community's in it.
I always forget that.
As we've spoken about before.
Yep.
Got to give him credit for it. That bald son of a bitch. Talking about the toaster.
This one too?
Is he?
Isn't he the astronaut?
Oh yeah, he is. I think he is. Fuck that dude, man. Scott Summers can suck a dick. Like J. Jonah Jameson. Like that's
I can't argue with that.
Yeah, like they can never do another Jameson ever again because how are you going to top it? You can't.
How are you going to do that hair again? That's what I want to know.
Yeah,
you as a barber,
top,
how would you do that hair? How do you do that?
It's called a wig, my man.
Oh, okay.
Like,
that's fair. That makes sense. I didn't even think of that. I just thought they straight up he had a barber that was just a pro.
No. Humans are not Play-Doh machines. That requires a wig.
That's fair. I never even think wig, but it's always that makes so much sense too. But I'm just so naive. I'm just like, yeah, I grow hair. They can grow hair.
No, bald men cannot.
That's fair.
But no, the only way they could get away with doing Jameson is if they pulled like a James Earl Jones Mufasa situation where they're like, we're gonna use him again, and then fuck everybody else. That is the only way they could do it.
That'd be the one time I'd be okay with it too. I'm like, yeah, no, that makes sense. He's still kicking.
I actually don't think I would be okay with it, to be honest with you. Like, I think it was just like. Because you guys know me, I'd look at it and be like, it's not the same universe.
Well, see, I could think of it as, you could have the same people in different universes be the same person.
I can't look at it that way, because I know that's not how they'd treat it. I know it wouldn't be a Spiderverse type scenario. Like, unless somewhere down the road, and this would be kind of cool, if they did like a, Into the Spider-Verse type thing, live action, where they get all the previous Spider-Mans all together. Like, I would watch the shit out of that fucking movie.
Oh, yeah.
I would go get my Batman tattoos covered up with Spider-Man tattoos because I'd be so pumped about
I'd
that.
hope they would do it kind of a version of kind of like Looney Tunes back in action, where you mix live action and animated, so you get all the Spider-Verse ones that have already appeared in the movie, even though I haven't seen it yet, or have.
And then you get Venom show up, and they're all like, "No!"
Yeah, and it's all just some wacky
Tom Hardy
adventure to
leaves.
save the Spider-Verse. Yeah, no, I'd be down for that.
That'd be cool. Save John Mulaney as Spider-Ham.
Yeah.
Works for me.
So I'm guessing neither of us have any positive feelings about the Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Mans, do we?
See, my biggest flaw with those movies isn't even that. It's Emma Stone.
Okay. I'm curious about this one.
He kind of looks young. Like Andrew Garfield, like he's old, but he looks young, which is another thing. Like, how the fuck? Why do you take adults, not even like in their 20s? Why do you take adults and be like, yeah, go play a teenager? That's cool. Yeah, it's fine, man. Just let it happen. You're 31. That's cool. Just go play like you're 17. Like that's half his fucking age.
Yep, that's why I give credit to Homecoming for actually having a teenager.
But watching Emma Stone, because I look at her, I'm like, no, you're too old. Like, you can't. Like, you're too old. You're not this character. Just don't. Go do a movie with Ryan Gosling or something. Just get out of my fucking Spider-Man.
Was she in the first one? I can't remember. I haven't watched the two.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was.
I've literally not watched those two in years.
Yeah, because
I do not like anything about either of them.
Because Dennis Leary's her dad.
That's the only good thing about those movies.
Which again, like that is such a ridiculous cast choice, but it's so awesome.
Yeah.
Except I would have loved to see him reach for coffee and then spit it out and be like, maple coffee. And then just go from there. Because that is a joke that only Craig would recognize.
I love that joke so much. Coffee flavored
coffee. Oh, he's hilarious. But no, like I fucking hated her in it. Yeah. And I always like, even the lizard, I didn't mind the lizard. I didn't like the look of him. Like his look did not match like what I saw in my mind. Like he looked more of a snake character to me. Mm-hmm. But I didn't mind that he was the big bad because he was a good step off point.
Yeah.
Right.
Not too big of a villain.
I didn't like the way it was set up where it was like, because again, from the cartoons growing up, like I always watched Peter go to, was it Doc Connors? Go to him for advice and get pointed in the right direction and use him. And then it just so happens that, yeah, he's the lizard as well. Like he just happens to have this thing inside of him that becomes it when he tries his experiments.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that aspect of it, but I liked the idea that he was just big enough of a bad that he got to hone his powers and figure it out without being like, well, now I need to go take on the biggest bad I've ever faced. Like it was a good step off point.
I agree with that.
And then you get into Amazing Spider-Man 2 and you're like, oh, cool. It's going to have Electro. And I actually really liked the look of Electro in this. A lot of people hated it because it wasn't authentic. And this is the one time I'm going to say, you know what? I'm glad they didn't go authentic. I don't want to see ridiculous costumes. That's why I didn't mind that Hawkeye didn't have a big fucking purple Hawkeye owl looking face.
No, I agree that
like some things just don't translate, and I'm willing to concede that. I want to see things come from comic book to real life if it works. And in a lot of cases it works and they just don't do it. In this case, good call on making Electro a fucking badass, because he is a badass, but now they make him look like a badass. But their version of the Green Goblin was like, what the holy shit is happening?
Yeah, no, that was garbage.
And there was no reason for it.
I couldn't tell you one.
There wasn't even one reason for it. Like, unless it was like I know they used it like as a stepping off point for their future Sinister Six movies and stuff that was supposed to happen and then did not. But why? What happened? Like, they could have just started it at like from the end. Like he happens to get a drop of Peter Parker's blood, and then mutates at the end or something. They don't have to show you with it. There's 1,000 different ways they could have killed Gwen off that they didn't need him to be part of it. And then the Rhino. What in the unholy shit was that?
Well, that was their attempt at getting a third one, which never happened because, well, those two did garbage.
Like, it was just... I didn't mind it other than that. Like, it was just... There's so many little pieces in it. I was like, okay, but
what did you think of, like, the family thing? Like, the family background thing and the secret train? I can't remember.
I like that they were spies. I like that they led into that because they were.
Okay. I
like that aspect of it, but it seemed kind of like a weird place that he just happened to like track it down, and that like he was the only one who could get into it.
Yeah.
And just it was a lot of coincidentals.
Yeah, it's very
like what if he never found it?
Nobody found that. Nobody
like almost like they
property?
like they knew he was going to become Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
No one went through those tunnels. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
It's New York City. There's teenagers vandalizing everything.
They're literally, I think it's one of the most expensive real estate places in all the U.S., if not the world.
Probably,
so
yeah.
I don't think they're just going to be led in a whole like sewer that they could turn into some underground parking lot.
Yeah, legit.
A subway or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do in New York.
Clearly, they don't go check out their abandoned subway tunnels.
Clearly not.
But,
yeah, no, I didn't really... Yeah, I can't say anything good about them either, but I can't hate on them too much because I haven't seen them in forever. But I feel like that says enough about it, really.
yeah. Like, I'm glad they didn't do a Sinister Six movie because I think they would have shit the bed with it.
Oh yeah,
especially because they were leaning so heavy towards like the tech being the explanation for stuff, which I don't need to see like tech as the explanation for everything. Sometimes just powers happen.
Yeah,
I want to see that shit.
That's one thing they haven't really done at all in Marvel stuff at all, really. Like, even the stuff that's not Disney Marvel, it's just like... Well, I guess, except for the X-Men. The X-Men are all...
Yeah, they're all mutants.
Yeah, they're all
mutants. And like, part of me gets it, because, like, there are so many different ways that these people... Like, to me, like, fucking the Fantastic Four are mutants. Like, if you've mutated, you're a mutant. That's my broad definition of it.
Yeah,
I get that they weren't born that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Spider-Man, to me, mutant. He fucking, like, something inside him mutated.
That's kind of like me for the DC side, where everyone's a metahuman if you've got any power. It's like,
yeah,
even if you're born with powers, you're a metahuman to me. Like,
yeah. Like, if you're not a standard Homo sapien, you're a fucking metahuman. Yeah. Like, that's it. You're meta. But, like, Spider-Man is really the only one who is, like, he had his powers, like, given to him, and we haven't seen anything about it. Like, we just accepted it. They're like, oh yeah, no, he got bit by a spider. Like, for all we know in the background, they're like, oh no, he was shooting heroin and there was some spider blood on it, and now he's that.
It's a real dark turn after Uncle Ben dies.
Well, yeah, man. Aunt May had a rough time. She started to chase the dragon, and then Peter was like, no, don't, and he tripped and he shot the heroin, but there was the spider venom on it. And that's what they call that version of the heroin, was spider venom.
And it turns
because then it's
in a trillion people into Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, he had the right blood combination. That's what it was. He had a very specific type of blood.
Special blood again.
That's it. And then you get to use venom because
that explains venom then.
Because Marvel loves to just take references and just shove it down your throat. Whether or not they're going to recycle it in the future and actually use it, and then it doesn't fucking make sense, that doesn't matter because they just love to do it. So if they just do that, and they go, oh no, that was venom.
Okay.
I stand by it. Peter Parker's a heroin junkie. You heard it here first.
These are facts.
Not at all. I don't think anything we can say really could classify as fact.
These are facts. Craig said it.
I haven't said much, so obviously the things I do say, very important.
Yeah,
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
We've pretty much covered most of them. Have you seen any of the other ones?
I have seen the 3 original, I guess we can call it original ones.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you rank them for us?
No, because I don't recall liking any of them.
Okay, what didn't you like about them?
I found them boring back then, I guess. I don't know.
They're long and slow pacing sometimes. Like, you see at one point Uncle Ben just changing a light bulb. What does that need to be in a movie?
I do. I'm pretty sure I saw the first one in theaters. But beyond that, I have no idea.
Nice, Craig. Thank you for contributing.
I tried. I have no idea. I can't.
Nothing.
Yeah,
eh? Okay.
I can't rank them because I haven't seen them in.
No, I didn't want to rank. I just wanted something, but
I haven't. Okay, so I haven't seen them in years. I don't
that's
remember
something.
enjoying them. I definitely didn't like superhero stuff back then anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered.
yeah, this is all adding up to me.
I'm pretty sure I've seen both of the Andrew Garfield ones, and I
feel
don't
like you probably
recall
would have seen that with Andrew.
thinking that. Well, I know I saw one of them with Andrew. I don't
Yes, at the
remember-
drive-in.
Yeah, at the drive-in.
Yeah, we
See?
saw The Amazing Spider-Man 2
There you
date night.
go.
I remember.
See? And something else, but I can't remember what else we watched either.
I want to say it was like Rock of Ages, but that's not
No, I
right.
have not seen that.
You know what? Now I'm going to go pull up what movies came out in that.
All right.
That time.
So in the meantime, I'll talk about how I don't recall really enjoying those either. And I have not seen Homecoming.
Yeah, we discussed that at the beginning.
So-
Yeah.
Ta-da.
Ta-da! Yeah, okay. Thanks, Craig.
Spider-Man's not my favorite.
No, I'll agree with you on that one. That's what I was thinking when I was trying to rewatch some of these, and I only got through 2 because I was
Yeah.
just like, I don't like these movies enough to suffer through them again. Like back when
used
we
to
didn't
like-
have back when we didn't have a lot of superhero movies, they were like, yeah, okay, I'll watch this every once in a while just as something. But now it's like I got 20 MCU movies that are all better than these ones.
Yeah.
Was it Bad Neighbors?
No.
No, okay.
I don't think so. Like I liked watching the Spider-Man cartoons back in the day, like the old ones. And
Was it $1 Million Arm?
no, I feel like I remember that.
No. Because I definitely saw that at the drive-in, but who did I see it with?
But actually, not movie related, but Spider-Man related. I'm kind of like halfway through the new Spider-Man video game for
Oh,
PlayStation.
nice. That's
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
I actually
I'm like
that.
10 minutes into it.
It's awesome. I love that game.
Wait,
So,
Andrew,
like,
you have a PlayStation?
I have
he not
2
only has one,
PlayStations.
he has 2. So
Okay, my bad. I didn't even just. Whew. Anyways, go on.
I really like that version of Spider-Man. He's like an older version of Spider-Man. He's got like a real job, so he's not in school or college or anything. And I like the storyline, and it's fun to play as Spider-Man. 'Cause
Okay,
you can
Craig.
just completely dick around.
yeah,
I'm
no,
gonna
I've seen a lot of
hit you with the pitch right here.
Uh-huh.
And Scott, I think this is gonna go like you're not gonna really care too much, but I think Craig might get on board. Okay, so open movie, boom. It's a flashback, but you don't realize it's a flashback at the time. Okay, you're looking at it. Uncle Ben is James Brolin.
Okay.
So John Short.
Yes.
Okay, and he's in the car and he's just giving his bullshit speech about great power comes great responsibility.
Bullshit speech.
He's giving his bullshit speech.
just like Denzel does in that movie, the Equalizer 2 bullshit speech.
Bullshit speech. Yep. The one that shapes everything. Yeah, it's a bullshit
The
speech.
best movie speech I've seen in a very long time. That bullshit speech.
Yeah,
Okay.
that bullshit speech. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Where it's a legitimate speech and it revs you up, but it's bullshit. No one gives speeches like that other than Gary Vee. And even then, come on, son. But anyway, so he's giving his bullshit speech to some kid. I don't care who the kid actor is. It's going to be a high school student, preferably grade 11 to 12, ready to take on the rest of his life, but he's getting it, okay? He gives that. He had just been bitten. Flash forwards, you get Colin Hanks as modern-day Peter Parker. Okay, and he's going through life, just walking down New York City, and then he runs into an alleyway because something happens. Spider sense goes off. He has to go save the day. Goes up on top of a building, and he's watching. And who shows up? Black Cat. That's where Scott gets involved because he likes that shit. And then after that, you can get
Wait,
into any villain
What's that
you want.
supposed to mean?
You like Black Cat? I don't know.
Anyways.
You didn't watch Life in Pieces, so you're not going to get the James Brolin or Colin Hanks references.
No, I was like, who are
but
those?
you get the Black Cat.
I really like Colin Hanks as Spider-Man though.
Does he not
that
like?
was a fantastic
he looks like
image.
could he not fit like a Peter Parker look? Like an old, like an older, wiser Peter Parker, someone who's been through the thick of it, and he's at a point where he's like, "I'm Spider-Man. I have found the balance of life. I'm married. I've got my kid. I'm Peter Parker."
Spider-Man Legacy.
Oh my God, that would be a fantastic name.
Oh, that's a good one, Craig. Well, I'll grant you that. I'd watch it just based off the name.
I try.
And I mean, I'm always up for. Well, I guess he's not a grizzled old.
No, he's
Spider-Man.
like not quite
Peak.
middle-aged.
Yeah, he's just peak.
No,
Spider-Man.
like he's like he's like late 30s, early 40s, but he could play like early 30s. Actually, I don't even think he's in his 40s, so he's got to like he'd be perfect for it.
Let's find out, shall we?
And then James Brolin, like he fits the old man Ben look. I think in my head, anyways.
I still don't know who that is. I thought
Okay.
I was thinking
It's-
Josh
Did you
Brolin when you first
watch
said
Community, right?
it. Yeah, I watched Community.
Okay. Do you remember the episode? It was season 4 where Jeff goes to meet his dad,
Yes.
and then his brother is what's his face from Workaholics.
Yes.
His dad is James Brolin.
Okay, I think I know who that is.
It's
now.
Josh Brolin's dad,
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
this
and
is
that's
all
when you
adding
bring in
up now.
Thanos. Boom, tied all that shit together, and that's the legacy, son.
Ooh. Tagline.
That's the legacy, son. With great power
Comes great
No.
brings
responsibility.
great legacy.
Uh,
Spider-Man legacy.
That's the legacy, son.
That's the legacy, son.
That's the tagline.
That's the tagline. I like it. And yet, this is how we end up with fucking Sonic the Hedgehog movies. Because no one listens to our good shit.
That's
Frustrating.
definitely why.
Frustrating. Now, I'm done talking about Spider-Man now. I've given you my best. I've given you my all.
Yeah. I've said
What did you
everything.
guys watch this week?
Go, Craig. You've been the least chatty. So.
All right. This week I didn't watch a whole lot. I intended to. I put The Dark Knight on my list
Oh.
because it's back on Netflix again.
It's
So
my
I
favorite
won't.
reasons for watching anything.
I want to watch it, but I haven't gotten around to it yet because I've been watching The Office every once in a while. My brother's watching The Office now, so I
So you're watching it by
get
osmosis?
Yeah, I get little
By
bits and pieces.
office-mosis?
Every once in a while, I sit down and actually pay attention, but I don't know. Yeah, the show is great and I love it, but watching it again now, I don't know if I could sit down and watch the entire thing straight through again.
Oh, I cannot do that with any
Because
sitcoms
there are
anymore.
parts of it that I'm just like, wow, I don't remember this being dumb. Why? Okay,
See, I've always felt that way about The Office, but
yeah. The first time through, I loved it. The second time, I don't know. It's I'm glad I'm watching bits and pieces of it because parts of it are funny, but the rest, like, I don't know if I could sit down and watch all of it.
there are chunks of it that are just like, what?
Yeah,
Like, I guess you were trying to be funny.
yeah,
but-
and it sort of worked, but it gets tired, and I didn't
Yeah,
realize that until
That's
now
how
is
I feel
basically what
about it.
is.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. I'm just like, ugh. That's why I never got into it. But I don't really rewatch sitcoms anymore. Anyways, I interrupted. What's next?
I've been watching Fargo season 3. I think I talked about that already. That's Ewan McGregor playing Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
Ewan
Yes.
McGregor. Yeah.
Yep.
Really good. In fact, Ewan McGregor killed Ewan McGregor. So, you know,
Oh, shit.
like it's happening.
On the show.
Stuff is, well, we hope. Stuff is going on is basically all I'm going to say about that.
I feel
I'm
like
not
that's
done
how
it
it's
yet.
always been described. Fargo. Stuff's going on.
Stuff is going on. I'm not done it yet though, because I have been trying to finish parts 5 and 6 of The Ranch
Okay.
Oh.
because I was
How is-
behind on part 5, And
how's
I'm
that
on
doing?
Part 6 is a frickin' roller coaster. Holy
Yeah,
crap.
I didn't start it because I can't picture it without Rooster. He was one of my favorite parts of it.
Believe it
So
or not, pretty central character in part
Yeah.
6 for a guy who's not there.
The guy was not even there, and yet
And
he's
then
still...
they just never talk about him again. Like, okay, I don't want to ruin it for you, so tell me how much I'm allowed to tell you.
all of it.
Okay, so
I don't care.
like
Fuck spoilers, hit me with it.
At the end of part 5, he like has to leave town, right?
Yeah,
And no
because
one
he diddled some women, so he had to leave. But in the show, it's because he's still banging his ex-girlfriend, whose
Yes.
ex-husband is back in the picture, and he's a
Yes.
Looney Tune.
Yes, he is. So he has to leave, right? But then the story arc becomes like Colt thinks that Nick, the ex-husband that has come back or whatever,
Killed him.
killed him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody else thinks that Rooster's dead because they find his motorcycle off the road and there's like blood and stuff like that. No one can find him. No one hears from him or anything like that. So that's the idea. They have a celebration of life, and then that's it. It's like 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 episodes of like roller coaster of like everybody's mad, everybody's trying to cool down, everybody's super sad right now, and then all of a sudden it's just like whatever.
It was just Rooster.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was like a switch. But maybe I missed the part where they were like 8 months later or whatever. But I don't think so. Because
I
Abby's
feel
pretty
like they
pregnant
would have been
all the
better off
time.
just jumping it. Like instead of picking up like after he left, just pick up where the baby's born, and then like they're struggling, and like everyone's still missing Rooster, but they're like, "Come on, you got to get over it. It's been almost a year."
That's
Like I feel like that would have been a solid way to pick it up. I know they haven't done that in previous seasons, but it would have been a good way to pick it up.
It would have been. That's where I'm at now. They just had the kid, and that's where I stopped. But it has been it's so weird for a show to be like, it was ridiculous and lighthearted and
Yeah,
exactly
considering
what
it's
you'd
a show
expect
that's
out of an Ashton Kutcher sitcom currently.
Well, it starts off really good. Like the first 5 parts were awesome.
Exactly, and then all
And
of a
I
sudden
think for
like-
me, it's Rooster was a really, like you said, a central part, right? Like
Well, he
he was
still is
the lighthearted, like, you know, everything's tense and he's just gonna make a stupid joke. He's be like, "Well, I have herpes," and you're like, "Haha, Rooster has herpes."
He might not. We have no way of knowing because he's just a ridiculous character. Exactly like that. So yeah, I'm gonna finish it because I have to,
And then never watch it again.
and then I might never go back to it. Yeah.
Have they brought in Mila Kunis yet?
No, I'm hoping.
What about Topher?
No,
Come on,
not that I'm aware of. What's her
did-
face?
Donna.
No, Tim Allen's wife from what's that show called?
Home Improvement.
Last Man Standing.
Oh, Last Man Standing.
That is
Who?
that's Maggie's sister.
Oh,
It took me a few minutes to figure out who I was looking at.
yeah,
on
I can
TV.
see
was
that
like,
though. They both have the kind of leathery face and curly hair.
Exactly. That's yeah. So I was watching. I was like,
Wait, wasn't she in an episode before though?
she might have been, but I don't remember.
I thought Maggie's sister showed up before and she was kind of like the family fuck up.
She is 100%. So she might have. I just don't remember. But I was watching. I was like, I know you. Where do I know you from?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she shows up and she's like, "Yeah, I have cancer" or something like that.
Yes, she does.
Okay.
That might have been in part 5.
Okay. Because I vaguely remember seeing her before and being like, "Oh shit!" And that was that kind of like manifestation of where like you start realizing people.
Yeah.
Are in things.
Yeah, I watched a lot of The Ranch in very little time. So the line between 5 and 6 is very blurred
Okay.
for me. But that's all
It's
I
just
watched this
one
week.
go.
'Cause
Which nothing wrong with that. I mean, aren't they technically like the same season, so to speak?
Might as well be, yeah.
Which I fucking hate that Netflix does that. Things in parts. Get the fuck out here. We're gonna give you a part every 6 months.
What are you, British series? What?
Yeah, like who the fuck do you think you are? Toast of London? Come on, son.
I might have to rewatch that instead. Forget Fargo. I'm just gonna go back to Toast of London.
That's it. I'll toast to that. Is that everything you watched this week,
That
Craig?
is all I watched this week. Tune in next week for when I talk about Toast of London
And
Oh,
Fargo.
in Fargo. Probably The Dark Knight. We'll see.
Maybe.
Well, Scott, what did you watch?
Well, I watched a couple things. I watched some more Comic Book Men. That's that Kevin Smith show.
Okay, yeah.
I need to watch more stuff on Amazon, and that one's easy to get to.
Speaking of which, I got a thing in the mail today saying I haven't been utilizing Prime and that I never have. And I feel like I'm the one out of the three of us who uses it more, like the most.
To watch stuff, I would agree with that. I haven't used it in a few months because like I have a Google Chrome, and Google Chrome and Amazon don't agree with each other and don't let me cast it, so I have to just watch stuff on my phone or my laptop, and my laptop makes too much noise, so I just end up watching it on my phone, and I hate that, but I'm doing it anyways. I do it while I cook now, so I'll just put it while I'm like chopping stuff. So, and they're shorter episodes, so it goes nice with it, and it's just kind of fun. They'll have random celebrities on once in a while, like Stanley's popped up a couple times.
Okay.
Luke Ferrigno came on and helped one of them.
What was his name?
Yeah, what was his name?
I think I said Luke when I meant to say Lou.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
I was so focused. I was focused so much on Frigno, I didn't even think about Luke.
Completely botched the beginning.
Yeah.
The one syllable, 3-letter name.
Yeah, I was like, I got
Fucked
that
up.
one, and then I just
Fucked up.
Yeah.
But we got Ferrigno.
Yeah. The Hulk showed up. I should have gone that way. That would have been easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I watched that. I watched a documentary on this unmade Dune movie by a dude whose name I'm not even going to try to pronounce.
Was it Lou Ferrigno?
No, it's German of some kind, I believe. Yeah.
Was it?
Jordorsky? I don't know if I said that right.
Oh, Hans Gruber. Gotcha.
Definitely not. But anyways, that was just a documentary about this unmade Dune movie, and it was just kind of interesting to see how far this guy had went, and then it didn't get made because none of the studios wanted to take it on, and then like 3 years later, Star Wars was made. And there's just like little things in this one, like because they had the whole movie pretty much like storyboarded and ready to go. All they had to do was get the money to start filming, and they had this giant book that they gave to all the studios, and then they flipped through this book and show scenes that like match up from it that are in like a bunch of sci-fi movies after, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's funny that they might have stolen, or there's some like maybe homage is a better word than steal, or kind of just inspiration from that. But it was just an interesting little documentary I'd gotten from the library. So yeah, I watched that. I watched the new Tomb Raider movie because that got added to Crave TV via their movie network thing. So yeah, I watched that. That was okay. Nothing special. Wasn't bad. Wasn't great. It was fine. Probably never watch it again, to be honest. But
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it was like,
that
it was
sounds
fine.
about right.
It was like the ending is what really annoyed me the most. The last like 3 seconds of the film, they do this little thing because like her character just doesn't like it. Just so feels like so like left turn / I get why you did it, but like she just picks up 2 freaking guns. Or no, she picks up 1 gun. She's like, yeah, I like this, and then she grabs the other one. She's like, I'll take 2, and she holds it up and I'm just like, oh god, like I get that's for the like the video game people, but I'm just like, your character in no way throughout this whole film was that kind of person, and you just went right turn at the end. It's weird, but
okay. Yeah. Well, I have a very important question for you about the movie.
Yes.
How intense was her ponytail? Like compared to Angelina Jolie's?
Not intense enough.
Okay.
Yeah, there was one.
That was a selling point for me as like a preteen. I was like,
that's yeah, it was a pretty crazy one.
And it was super creepy of me.
Like, it looked like it could be used as a weapon, and I swear she did once or twice.
Yeah, like it looked like she could have whipped somebody with. Like, oh, my eye. Exactly. Like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Whereas this one, not so
Here
much.
you go, motherfucker.
She only has it in a braid at like the very end.
Yeah,
it's kind of like I don't want to say she's got like medium length hair, so there's not much going on with it. Yeah.
No,
anyways, I don't pay as much attention to hair as you do. I'm sorry. But yeah,
I'll give it to you.
I watched that. I also watched the first season of Krypton on Crave TV as well.
I saw that they added that.
Yes, and I'd watched the first 2 or 3 episodes. I think I might have actually only watched the first 2, so I might have skipped the third. But anyways, I started at number 4, watched the whole season. It was okay. I enjoyed how it ended. I'll be curious to see how the next season comes. But it's also one of those ones I'm like, I'm not in a rush to see it. That's why I was happy it got added to Crave, because otherwise probably would have never seen it. But yeah, it was good. I don't know if you'll like it. Because I don't know how lining up with the comics it does, because I don't know much about...
Here's my big thing, because I watched the first, 3 episodes, right?
Yeah,
on
that's what I
Space
watched
when it
too,
came
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
My big thing is just the goddamn British accents. I hate that everything in movies is just, if it's not, if it doesn't take place in America...
It's a British accent.
It's a British accent. Oh, it takes place on the planet Krypton? Okay, British accent. Oh, but what about his great-great-great-great-grandmother? She's Irish as all shit. Okay, well, here's a British accent that occasionally slips into Irish. Oh, what about ancient Greece, though? What happens in ancient Greek times? Celtic. Oh, yeah, no, they were 100% British. Everything that isn't American is British. Come on, son. Figure something out.
Yeah, no, I can't explain that or defend that in any way on your side.
And that was really a major detriment to me, because I was like, for fuck's sakes, why?
Yeah, you won't like it because it just gets more British. The Zod they have, it's very British.
Very British.
Yeah, he's in Doctor. Is it Doctor Who or Sherlock? He's in. I can't remember which one. He's a villain in one of those or a suspect in one of those two. He might have been in both, for all I remember. Anyways, I've seen it in stuff, but. Yeah, no, Krypton, it was okay. Like I said, I don't know if you'll like it, but it seems like you probably didn't. But anyways, the last thing I watched was Nailed It Holiday. This just got added to Netflix. Nailed It's that baking show I told you guys about one time. And I watched 2 episodes just before we started this, and I fucking love this show so much. Okay. It's just the funniest shit to me, and I don't know why. I think it's because I just like watching other people's failure, because it makes me feel better about my own life. But, yeah, it's just so funny. They're trying to make different holiday themed stuff and just failing at it. It makes me want to bake sometimes because in my head, I'm making fun of these people, but then I'm also like, well, could you do it, Scott? And I'm like, well, maybe I could. I don't know, but it's just hilarious.
Probably not, but maybe. Probably
not. Well, some of them I'm like, no, I couldn't do that. But other ones I'm like, well, you just had to bake a cake, man. You had to bake a cake and put some icing on it. And you guys failed at that. You couldn't bake a cake. I could bake a cake. I know I can bake a cake. But anyways. Yeah, I love that shit. It's just so funny. I'd call it a guilty pleasure, but I'm not guilty. I don't feel guilty about it at all. But it's just definitely.
You just feel pleasure.
You're owning it.
I do. It's honestly, I was laughing literally out loud. I'm normally a snicker to myself at a thing, but this one I was just dying. I almost fell off the couch just because it's just ridiculous, but at the same time it's just real. That's why it's so ridiculous, right? Because it's just these people being their natural selves. / the host is just so over the top, and it's just the way they edit it a little bit too. It's just kind of got that. They kind of lean into it being a lower production, if that makes sense. Even though it's got it's not too low budget, but they lean into that as a joke in our sense, and it's just really funny in that way. But yeah, I just like it. It's just a nice it's just a fun reality show just to sit back and just have no story to worry about or anything. Just kind of sit back and laugh at people trying to bake shit.
I feel you. I feel you.
That's all I watched this week. What did you watch, Andrew?
Well, I didn't watch much. I watched, last week, right after we finished recording, I went to bed.
Nice.
Because you know how we do. And I was like, I'm going to listen to some comedy to help me fall asleep, because that's how I do.
Yep, that's how you do.
So I went on Prime, because I had finished talking about, what's his name?
Somebody that was on Prime.
Patton? Bettine? I can't remember his name. Big guy from Boston. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go on Prime. So I find Angelo Sarukis, who I remember watching on Just for Laughs back in the day. I fucking hate him.
Really?
His special is awful. I remember thinking it was so goddamn funny. He is not funny in the slightest.
That's unfortunate.
His whole special is just, hey, I'm fat. I like to eat lots of food. I'm Greek. And that's the whole special. And I'm like, man, Russell Peters endorsed this guy.
Well, that explains
I was just thinking that too. I'm like,
that
Peters' whole thing
explains
is, hey, look, I'm a
everything.
different, come on.
it was just so bad. Like
You just
he's like,
described if Russell Peters was Greek.
Yeah.
yeah, that's fair. But like Angelo Sarukis is a huge dude, right? And he does a bit, and it's like 10 minutes of him talking about how like he went on this cabbage soup diet. He's like, one of my friends told me I could go on a cabbage soup diet. It was going to help me lose weight, and I still got to eat as much as I can. And he had me at eat as much as you can. So I was eating this. What he didn't tell me was that cabbage makes you shit. And then he talks for like 5 minutes about how he ate cabbage soup and like shit his pants. And I was like, that wasn't funny, man. That was just crude. Like,
Yeah, I don't need poop jokes, to be honest. I'm a little
like I think I would have laughed more if like Amy Schumer said it. Like,
damn.
Don't bring
like
that
if she
here.
told the joke, I would have thought that was a lot funnier.
Don't bring that here. She probably did tell that joke.
Joke stealing jokes.
Haha.
Yeah.
So you watch then?
I gave
got
up on
so
TV.
mad.
I gave on TV afterwards. No, I kept watching a little bit of Life in Pieces just in the morning while I'm getting ready. I tried watching F is for Family on Monday.
Oh, that's what I watched. I forgot that I was watching F is for Family.
I've been watching that via osmosis as well.
That's
I
always
do
a
not
good one.
like
My
it
brother's
in the
watching
slightest.
The problem with F is for Family is that you have to watch it in doses. I can't watch it all at once.
I like Bill Burr.
I
That's the thing.
love
I
listening
think
to
he's
Bill Burr,
I think he's
but-
really funny. I hate the show though.
The show is hilarious in doses. Or by
It's just-
osmosis. Because there are some things they say are hilarious, but then other parts of the show are so tedious. I like that it's not censored. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'll give it credit for that via osmosis.
Yeah, I can't. I can't get behind it. I can't. But yeah, so I tapped out on that one. I was watching Community at the shop this week.
Oh, okay. I was curious when you said
And,
you didn't watch much. I was like, well, what did you have at the shop?
No. I had Community on at the shop because it's about 3 hours per disc, so I just have to press
that's
play
easy.
twice.
Yep.
Life is good. Or 3 times. So we were watching that, and today there's one episode in season 6 where they have toast. They have the Toast of London on there.
They have Matthew Berry on there?
Yep. For one episode, he plays a grifting teacher.
He's such a good actor in everything. And he
And it's-
finally played the Globe.
Yep. And then burnt it to the ground promptly. But yeah, he plays a British dude who teaches a grifting class, who no one seems to understand why he teaches a grifting class, which I thought was pretty cool. And yeah, he the only thing that would make that episode better though is if he said Mrs. Purchase, just because that's the best way to say anything related to that. Actually, I take it back. I definitely would love to hear him say Ray Bloody Purchase as well. Like if they just had a character named Ray for one episode where they're talking about buying something and he's like, go purchase it, and the guy's like, purchase? He's like, Ray Bloody Purchase, and I'd be like, aha, that's a Toast of London reference that only 3 people in the world understand.
You just reminded me how much I really need to watch
Toast of London?
again.
Oh, God. So good. So outside of that, I watched New in Town the other night when I went to bed.
John Mulaney's.
And I didn't really watch it. I listened to it. And that's where you find out that Dean Cain is a rapist.
It's a fucking
On
Dean
the
Cain.
show. Is that fucking Dean Cain? And the only other thing I watched this week, and it's very exciting because Kendall is heavily invested in it, is The Flash.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you mentioned that to me.
Kendall is extremely invested in The Flash, and I'm so for it because she is so good at guessing what's going to happen. Like, she guesses stuff that, like, happens near the end of the season at the beginning, and I'm like, holy thundering buck. How? Like, how do you do this? Are you a metahuman? Can you run to the future? She probably can, but
Sure, the
just-
Wikipedia.
that's it.
I don't mean to take credit away from her.
Either that or she just bings everything.
Yeah.
She's got to bing this, bing that.
She watched some YouTube videos as like
Yeah.
refresher, so it just seemed like she was getting it all.
Probably.
Or she's just
I wouldn't be
smarter than
surprised.
both of us, which seems
Dude.
like the most likely option.
Do you even know her? She's way smarter than us. That's not even a debate.
It's fair. It's fair.
But, yeah, that's it, man. That is all I watched this week.
Oh, darn! This is a short episode.
You're welcome, listeners.
No, well, thanks for listening this week, guys.
Yeah. We'll talk to you next week when we talk about something else.
Stuff.
Yeah.
And then the other things.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.